and our Friday series, Making a Difference, making the school day better for those students with a parent in harm's way. Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
As promised with our Friday Making a Difference report, a fitting story as this week before Christmas comes to an end. It involves a woman who's dedicated to the belief that we should all treat each other better these days. She took a school that was one of the worst in the country, turned it into one of the best, and the beneficiaries here are kids whose parents are serving this country a long way from home. The story tonight from NBC's Lee Cowan.
Dorothy may have been right about Kansas, because if your kids go here, there is no place like home.
What's the first thing you should say, Melina?
Ware Elementary used to be one of the worst schools in the state. 70% of its students weren't even testing at their grade level.
Pot, potter, potting.
But today, most are exceeding standards in both math and reading.
You're doing a nice job.
A turnaround that arrived when the new principal did.
The kids call me Dr. G.
Debbie Gustafson surprised everyone when instead of making wholesale curriculum changes, she set about changing the teachers.
It's not really about what the kids do. It's about what the teachers do. It's about what the adults in the building do.
Instead of isolating them in classrooms, teachers are now required to meet to assess their own teaching skills.
Also wanted to ask about Melanie.
Measured by each child's performance.
Cody, great job.
I'll say, oh, I heard from Mrs. White that we need to work on this. They kind of look at you like, oh, you really do talk to each other. Okay.
There were subtle changes in style, too. A teacher's hand on a shoulder here, a high five there.
Got it.
I think the feel of the building is much friendlier, it is more open, and the kids respond to that.
Love and logic, it's called, and few kids needed it more.
What do you think? Is that a good line of symmetry?
At any given time, between 60 to 70% of the students here have at least one parent gone. That's because they've been deployed, either to Iraq or Afghanistan. Ware Elementary, it turns out, sits right in the middle of the Fort Riley Army Post.
Loss is as much a part of this school as story problems are. When David Crow's father was killed in Iraq, that group approach to teaching became his safety net.
Usually it's the parents, that are like, well, your grades are dropping from this to this, we think you need help. But they caught it. I didn't.
He says he now wants to be a teacher. Testament enough, says Dr. G, that they must be doing something right.
Good job, guys.
Lee Cowan, NBC News, Fort Riley, Kansas.
Great way to finish up. That's our broadcast for this Friday night and for this week. Thank you for being with us. I'm Brian Williams. Lester Holt will be here with you this weekend. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you. Have a good weekend ahead. Good night.